have
Daylight savings
coming up. Yeah, daylight savings coming up, and it'll be
that awkward time of year, Daniel, where you change and then a little while later we change and then we're 2 hours further apart, and my 7 a.m. becomes my 5 a. Your 5 a.m. if we stick to the usual pattern. Yeah.
Indeed. Yeah, and it's odd because there's some people who hate daylight savings and say, hey, we shouldn't even have it anymore. And there's this push every time it happens. Every 6 months there's a push, of we shouldn't have this and blah blah blah, and it never gets changed. Nothing ever happens, Darrell. So here we are. You're in Southern Hemisphere, and so it's going to, like you were saying, I move forward, you move back, and
Yup.
we came together.
Even that we don't synchronize that across the world, so we can celebrate certain significant days across the world. Hey, Shafina. But we can't sort of agree on, hey, this is when we can all change our clocks.
Yeah. Well, it's not even a northern southern hemisphere thing. Country
it goes by country,
across.
hey.
Well, there are also countries that or parts that don't even observe it at all. So there's a state in the United States that doesn't observe it at all, ever, right? So it makes it weird when you fly in there. You're like, what time?
Yeah,
I don't remember.
That's like Queensland in Australia. And in the 70s, there was just one country town in my area that didn't do daylight savings. So you had just a group of farmers that were like, no, we're not doing it. I'm milking my cows at this time.
So
the cows don't know, right?
Yeah, I feel like
cows with wristwatches, that just doesn't work.
I think you should draw that. You're all about drawing things. I think you should draw that.
I will sometime. Cows with
So anyway,
watches.
so no, we're going to have to deal with that. But let's get on with the show.
Come on, you're driving these graphics, man. This time.
I'm not doing anything.
Oh, okay. I'll hide that. I'll play the thing, and then we'll start the thing.
Hello, everyone. This is not the Darrell drums on his desk show. Hello. This is the 365 Message Center show with Daniel. That's me. And over there is
Darrell. Darrell is a service, the annoying one of the two.
What services do you provide, Darrell? I'm just,
one service I provide is to annoy you.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
that'll
everyone
go
likes
really
to
well.
Feel dramatic and get things done. So that blasted Darrell, I'm gonna get through my stuff today and just, I don't know how that works.
Great. So we were just talking about daylight savings time in the pre-show in the green room, as it were. And so just a heads up to everybody that time will be changing for the live broadcast of the show. We'll figure it out and we'll announce it and everything. But Darrell, over there, is in the Southern Hemisphere, and New Zealand has decided not to change daylight saving or the time at the same time as the U.S. because they are special. Yeah. And so they're going to wait a couple weeks, I think it is, before switching. So it's going to be fun. Trust us, everyone. The whole thing it's going to be fun. So, and Heidi in the chat room asks if we coordinated our outfits today. No, we did not. So
notice that Daniel's is the shark. That's the golf tee, correct?
Yes, Greg Norman.
Yeah, and mine is this polo I got from Icebreaker, which has these really annoying buttons that are hidden. And you got to kind of like, I button them and then stick my head over through them. Yeah.
Please don't.
I won't.
This is not that kind of show, Darrell.
The no-show show.
Yes. So let's take just a quick pause here right before we jump in to say, please.
Here we go.
Be
What body
following
part
us
today?
on the socials, 365 MCS on Twitter and Insta and Facebook and LinkedIn. That's where we are, all of those places. And make sure you also subscribe to the audio podcast for those that are watching the video. You can get that link at messagecenter.show on the website. That helps support us as well. Make sure you give us a thumbs up in the video if you're on YouTube right now, or you're on LinkedIn, whatever, do the thumbs up, and make sure you click the bell. The bell in YouTube reminds you when we go live, you get a little ding. So the ding for how you're going to click the bell, you're going to do it with the back of your head. You're just going to kind of give it a nice nudge with the back of your head. So there you go, Darrell.
What
back
is
of the head.
Yeah, but what is your head doing near the bell? I had to add that because I misspelt it. Click the bell, ding the ding with the back of the head. Back. Yeah.
Yes, those in the podcast, audio podcast, you should know Darrell cannot spell.
Yeah, I'm on captions today.
So let's jump right in. Is that okay, Darrell? If we jump right in, is there anything else we need to?
No. Okay. That's all. We're good.
Well, Darrell, you're up. Let's talk about Whiteboard.
I am up. When we saw this one come through last week and people chatting about it, there was some interest. Temporary whiteboard collaboration for external and shared device accounts, MC 337624. And it's a good one because we've up until now had trouble with collaborating with whiteboards. Actually, there's a bunch of stuff with whiteboards and sharing screens and things that I'd like it to do better. But this is certainly an improvement. You may or may not know this, but Whiteboard is destined to be stored in your OneDrive for Business soon. That's good because when you're storing them in places like that, you're more likely to be able to share them externally. So you can see that this pattern of external sharing with other different services is all shifting towards OneDrive for Business, stream videos, now whiteboards. Now, what does this make possible? It makes possible for our external and shared device accounts to be able to access it. Guests coming in and using Whiteboard together with us. Maybe we want to share that whiteboard later on. And some hint down here, Daniel, which I find quite interesting. It's like they got partway through writing the message and then removed some of it, and there doesn't seem to be the same context. But it talks about it down here that note OneDrive loop sharing capability. It's all together, written together because it's a PowerShell command, and core loop sharing capability are currently only used by Whiteboard on OneDrive for Business, but in future other fluid content such as loops in Teams chat will be covered by these settings. Feel like I said, they've removed part of the message and they just left that bit there, but it's hinting towards loop being able to be embedded into a whiteboard, and this is part of setting that up and making it possible, is shifting whiteboards into OneDrive for Business. Thoughts? Question mark. That email sometimes you get from someone more senior than you that says blah blah blah, thoughts?
I have thoughts. So for this, I think you're right. There was some disconnect there about what it's talking about. But one thing that I do want us to keep in mind and points out here is those fluid components. This is another step in bringing those loop components into Teams and into the Teams chat, the Teams meetings, and bringing that available so that we can utilize those with our guests. So it's a good thing, but it's a weird way of pointing it out in this message. But just know that this is temporary access for those guests, and therefore, it's not overcoming that issue of how do we share whiteboards with guests on a permanent basis. But I would expect we're going to have that soon. They're making progress.
Yeah, I think, yeah, you're right there. We want to be able to give people access to loop components in private meetings that are outside of our organization. Yeah, but Phil
Correct.
has a question here too. Like, oops, did I hide? No, you typed something, and I was just about to click on Phil's comment. About time we had some meeting participant access to apps without jumping through lots of security hoops. If they continue to follow this pattern of putting things in OneDrive for Business, or once you have that capability within Teams and sharing things externally, yeah, I think that would truly be the case. Whiteboards are still a good place to work together and put post-it notes and scribble stuff on screens. How good are you, Daniel, with drawing with your mouse?
Not very.
Yeah, not many of
I have
us
a
are.
pen, but not with my mouse.
Yeah, so they're good for Surface Hubs, Surface devices, things with styluses when you want to draw ink and truly do whiteboarding. That's more accessible. The ironic thing is that not all of us have styluses, so we have to draw like we're in third grade or second grade and just taking our time. And yeah, anyway, that that is where is it? After whiteboards move, this is when it will happen. After whiteboards move to OneDrive for business storage, which is starting mid-March, soonish. Should be a t-shirt, Daniel. Completing in mid-April, this capability will be utilized by Whiteboard. Sounds good.
Yippee!
Yep. Then we can have like a whiteboard off, like a cook-off or a bake-off. We can invite our friends and go, right, guests, let's do this.
Draw a cookie.
Draw a cookie. Draw a cookie. Let's get
Okay.
Liz along. Because she beat us when she baked those cookies back in 2018. Liz Sundit, MVP
Us?
Summit. Yep, she beat the bake off, but I'm pretty sure I could draw a better cookie than her.
Wow, there's a challenge.
Laying the challenge down.
Let's move on to the next message. This one is exciting. This is our headline here for our title is Workflows in Teams App Store for Messaging. This is MC337954, and this should be, titled, I think, Power Automate Workflows in Microsoft Teams App Store. So this is bringing kind of this native working with flows, Power Automate flows inside of Teams. This will begin rolling out mid-March, so here in a week or so, and fully deployed by end of March. So this is going worldwide. And it really will be, users will be able to go in and add in the apps store and for Teams to add workflows. And there's a screenshot there in the message that Darrell is showing. For those of you on the video, you're going to have categories of, types of flows, approvals, instant productivity, syncing, notifications. So things like if you have a message in Teams, you'll be able to go to the ellipsis for that message and say, remind me about this. And, maybe it's a task you want to follow up on or something. So you'll be able to get those. And some of them, though, will be automatic flows that you'll be able to add, meaning you don't need to kick them off. They'll just be able to send a notification. If you're used to Power Automate, those things like when an item is added to a SharePoint list or, whatever, then those you can get a notification about those in Teams. So I think the only thing to consider here is first, if Power Automate is not turned on for your environment, then it'll be respected, and so it won't work here. The second, though, is, every time one of these are triggered, it is a run of a flow. So, all of the, as far as I know, all of the guidelines and restrictions for as a number of flows triggered and all that are still in place. This doesn't overcome any of those. So for casual use, I think you're fine. You're going to be good. And this shouldn't
just
require any
additional.
additional.
Just with friends.
Right. Oh, this shouldn't require any additional licensing because it's within Office, so it's not, you're not going to have to get a Power Automate license separate than what comes with like an E3 or an E5. Yeah, so that will be rolling out this month.
Do you think
Are you excited?
Well, will it bump people like me over the threshold that I don't use Power Automate and Flow much at all? I don't care to save all my attachments to a folder that arrive in email just to make it convenient. I do that when I need to.
There's more than that, right? That's not the only flow you can create.
I can remind myself to get back to that message.
Well,
I can add a task for every message that arrives in my channel for something.
Manually, right? Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
But think about it. For some people, this is not great or not the way they want to work. But for some others, especially those that don't like to, some of us keep new messages, or they go to activity in Teams, right? And then they mark things unread, and that's their kind of follow-up list, is whether something is unread, for instance. You can do that in email as well.
Yeah.
But for others, maybe that's not something they want to do. They would rather keep all their tasks in Planner or a task in To Do. Maybe you want to create a Power Automate flow to say, create me a task for this, so I can, yes.
Yeah. Okay. I see that. Send it to
work the way you want, Darrell.
Work the way you want. Automate it.
Yes. So let's talk about, and this one I think is going to cause a little controversy, maybe.
Yeah.
We'll see. This is account switching.
Yeah, account switching for Microsoft 365 web apps. Web apps, not just Office. Web apps. Should I say it again? No. MC338712. When you go to use Outlook on the web, Word, Excel, PowerPoint on the web, maybe OneNote. Don't think it's listed there in the... Oh, yeah. Let's scroll down a bit. What does it cover? I know I'm jumping ahead. OneDrive for Business, OneDrive Consumer, SharePoint Online, Office on the web, so that'll be all the Office apps, and the M365 Admin Center. You'll be able to go up to the top right-hand corner. I should have looked at the right. This is your right. Top right-hand corner, and change between or add other accounts. Daniel, when I sometimes work with clients, or even between my own personal Microsoft 365 account and work, I've been switching between on sort of Word or Excel or PowerPoint on the desktop. And actually recently, Daniel, there's been a change in that experience too. We used to be able to just add accounts and see it as additional storage altogether. Now it's entirely separate. I can switch between work, I can switch between my MVP tenant or my personal OneDrive consumer, and I get asked to restart the application on the desktop. But with the web app, you'll be able to switch at the top right-hand corner seamlessly, without seams, and we'll be able to...
Hopefully.
Yeah. Oh, no, hopefully. We don't know yet.
And have you managed this? I've managed this kind of process on the web anyway, using profiles in Edge.
Yeah, different profiles in browser.
But with that, you can really consume a lot of memory and power on your machine because you have so many Edge windows open. This could be a way of not needing to do that when you want to switch between these accounts. You can simply switch through the account in that tab itself rather than having to use a different profile in the browser. What I'd like to know about this, I'm excited about this, and what I'd like to know is how this is going to work across tabs. So let's say you have 3 tabs open in your browser.
In the same session?
One with Outlook.com, one with Office.com, and one with Word open. And you switch one of those tabs accounts. Does it switch all 3?
Yeah.
Or is it just that tab? That's one thing I'd like to know. We don't know how that behavior is going to, how that's going to behave. But
the way it behaves on the desktop, if I change in Word, it also changes in PowerPoint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there was another question before we went live about how this would work, and is Teams web app included in this? And the answer there in this message is that it is not. It's only those that are listed right now. There is sort of a promise that other things will be added later, but this is only Outlook, OneDrive, SharePoint, and Office.com, as well as the Microsoft 365 admin
Well,
center.
it's kind of catch up, really, because Teams has
Yes.
been able to switch between accounts that you've signed into.
Yes, I hope that it's not that terrible of an experience, though.
Oh,
So-
and it's not in the web too, so that
Right.
switching happens
Exactly.
on the desktop app, but not in a web browser.
Yeah.
I think, to your point too, when you are starting to switch and change, and whether or not it changes all the apps in your session, but also what happens when you change one tab, and let's say you're switching to a different account in Word, but you're still over here in OneDrive for something else, and you could potentially be signed into multiple different accounts, all in different tabs. If your way of working is, like you said earlier, a profile for a certain thing, for a client, an account, or something, then your meat, potato, veggies, and gravy, and it'll all get mixed up, right? And it won't be like that nice little tray that keeps everything separate, or bento box. My bento box will just be sushi everywhere, and I'll get so confused.
So you're one of those that doesn't like to mix your mashed potatoes and your peas. You want to keep them separate.
Only in productivity, but when I eat, it doesn't
Okay.
really matter. It's all going to be chewed together anyways, and it's all together in my tummy. So.
I'm happy about this account switching. It's a little limited right now, but there's some things to. So does my question earlier about the different tabs? If I switch one tab within one tab, does the other one switch? I just need to keep that in mind. That when I switch the tab, it has switched now because I switched on tab 1. But if it doesn't, then I need to know that as well. If I switch it on tab 1 and I go to tab 2 and I expect it to be in that, the other account, and it's not. So we don't have that information. I expect it to switch for all tabs when you do it for one. So
Yeah. Well,
it needs to be tested.
we got this far without showing any pictures. That's really clever, Darrell. Just have a look at what it does look like, and this is just within Office. So I think that reflects your Office applications. So think of this. You go to office.com, you can go to Word, Excel, PowerPoint, as you can see down the left-hand side. I think when you switch between what we're seeing on screen here is Megan Bowen. Yeah, Megan. And then her Outlook.com, I guess she's Consumer 301, so that's her consumer account. And she also works for Fabricam occasionally. That when she switches, it'll affect all of the Office apps because it's the top right-hand corner. It's not as if you're changing it per app.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
Done.
Done. Let's talk about video.
Let's do that then.
The next message is Microsoft Stream. Improve audio quality with noise suppression for Stream on SharePoint. MC337955. So if you think about this, we've talked about this for, well over a year now. Microsoft Stream is that underlying technology that powers your audio and video files in OneDrive and SharePoint. Okay? So it used to be a separate product, but it really is now a underlying service powering those files within SharePoint and OneDrive. Well, what this message is bringing to us is that noise suppression that you get in a Teams meeting right now, right? When you're in a Teams meeting and you want to suppress noise, maybe you have a lot of background noise and it's an office or there's construction going on or there's a dog barking, whatever, then you can suppress noise within that meeting. It's fantastic. This is actually going to allow us to go back into videos that we have already uploaded to SharePoint or OneDrive. And it doesn't have to be a Teams meeting. This could be any video. And have that option to suppress noise. And so you're going to be able to suppress the noise of that. And so whenever anyone comes in to view that file, that video, then it will have basically the service is going to regenerate an audio, the audio track for that video without the noise. And this is rolling out early March, completed by early April for those in targeted release, and then general availability early April through early June. And it says nothing, there's no action to be required, but just making sure that your people know this. Will this be 100% awesome? I hope so, but could it be that someone checks that box and it regenerates the audio, and the audio isn't great because it suppressed the wrong stuff? Maybe. Possibly. I would say the likelihood is very low, but is it possible? Sure. So make sure that we train users on it, on the noise suppression, but then also how to enable it and maybe double checking, right? Making sure that everything sounds good.
The screenshots in the message are quite good to show what the user experience is like when the file is enabled, when it's available. So after you've generated it, you can turn it on or off, a bit like you can turn transcription on or off. I know that's in a slightly different position on the video, but yeah, that was my initial thought too. Like, is this going, if it's not very good, if it has actually ruined my audio because I wanted the background noise. Maybe I wanted a bit of ambience, and I was trying to be all film-esque.
Be cute. You're trying to be cute with your jazz playing in the background.
Then maybe I didn't want it removed, but I think it'll be a helpful feature.
Indeed, I think so too.
And like, do you think what do you think we'll also see come into video if we look at this other screenshot? It shows. Well, I didn't see the about video switch. That's something new from that screenshot. We have transcript and captions. We have comments. We don't yet have a table of contents. That's what I'm waiting for. When you can put your time codes in and you can jump to certain positions in the video. Right. Yes, please. Hurry up. Thank you.
Yes.
Sorry, that's not very polite. I'm waiting patiently but excitedly in anticipation for that feature.
You're waiting patiently but with great excitement. That's awesome.
Well, I know we try and do this for our own videos for the show, where we put those time codes in to make it easier for people to jump to certain content. And I think it's just such an important thing today for people to want to jump to certain positions in the video. If you're going to make the video more easy to consume, then I'm looking forward to seeing that. Next.
Me too. All right. So that is it actually for this week. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Darrell, as you just heard, is really excited about you being here. Right, Darrell?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's great to see a nice showing too. It's been a while since we've had 10, 11-ish live and in person as we're running the show. Just a question though too, and I know there's a bit of a buffer between you can actually answer this question or not. Are you finding that keeping up with Microsoft 365, it has been an interesting evolution, because right now we see messages turning up and then almost a day or two later saying, updated, we can't deliver that till a month away. And that certainly gives us a challenge about trying to keep up with change and preparing our people. But I think just in general, looking across all the different shows and people that cover updates for Microsoft 365, viewership is dropping. It's almost like people are I'm just tired of this. I'm just going to do the best I can with whatever arrives. How do you feel, people? That was a really long question. Just drop it in the chat and let us know. But Daniel, what do you think about this?
Yeah, drop it in chat and the comments after we go live, after we're live, or start it up on social media. Let's start a chat on LinkedIn or on Twitter. Tag us and we will get that conversation going. I think it is something I'm asked all the time, especially when I'm presenting on the topic of keeping up with change. But it's, how do I keep up with what's going on when it changes after it's already announced? And for instance, there was some that we just talked about, I guess, last week or the week prior, and within a week they canceled it and said, nope, never mind, or postponed it, I guess. Never mind, it's going to be yet another month. It's like, well, shouldn't you have known that? I mean, if it's within a week of announcing and taken by itself, okay, fine, things happen, get it. But the problem is this happens so often, and it is just difficult to really keep up with. So if the process was just take the information that they're giving us, process it, get approvals or get input, and then disseminate to your users, period, done, then okay, we can do that. It's complicated enough, right? Because of all the different services and the way things work together. But throw in they've announced it, you started processing, you may have already told your users, oh, by the way, we're not doing it anymore, or we're postponing this for 6 months, or whatever it is. It's like, wait, now we got to go back to our users and somehow communicate, no, that's not happening. So we hear you, and we'd like to get a conversation going about this. So please, like I said, throw your comments in the chat, on the comments on the video, start it on social, and, tag us on Twitter and LinkedIn. Just let's get this conversation going and helping others deal with this change as well.
Yeah, like I know there's been a few people commenting and answering our question there, and Zach's comment here about we hang out for certain features because we've told people it's coming. And we prepare them. We say, look, don't go to that third-party product yet. No, we're not going to buy this yet. We're going to set that expectation that it's going to be part of the product soon. So mail signatures, for example, synchronization of that, other features too. Yeah, a challenge. But let's keep talking about it, because I think we can affect change about how the message center works, and just be part of that community that drives what we want to help us keep people informed.
And I've got some ideas, and I'd love to share them with everyone. So let's get the conversation going. Start that thread on Twitter or on LinkedIn or both. Let's get it going. So thank you, everyone, for joining today and letting us start this conversation about keeping up with change. Make sure you follow us on socials at 365MCS. Get that conversation going, okay?
All right. Well, see you again for episode 233 next time. Bye for now.